Okay, fifth chapter is about to begin starting today. In the last four chapters, Krishna had explained about the Jnana Yoga and the Karma Yoga. Third chapter, second chapter spoke about the unique Atman that resides inside every one of us and how this body is different than that Atman. Even if the body falls down, the Atman always lives. And he spoke about at length about the greatness of that Atman. And he also spoke about Jnana Yoga, which is to be absorbed in divine knowledge and how to attain moksha through that divine knowledge. And in the last chapter, he spoke about Karma Yoga, which is purely actions, how to attain moksha through that. Now, in this fifth chapter, first question Arjuna puts in front of Krishna and says that this is the doubt that I have. That's how the fifth chapter begins. The question that Arjuna asks is this: Arjuna Vacha Sanyasam Karmanam Krishna Punaryogam Cha Samsasi Yachreya Yetayorekam Tanme Bruhi Sunischitam. Arjuna says sannyasam, which is the yoga of renunciation, the Jnana Yoga. So Krishna, you spoke about the yoga of renunciation, which is just giving away everything and be absorbed in the divine knowledge. And you also spoke about Karma Yoga, which is full of actions. Now these two seems to be totally contradicting. Sannyasam is where you will have to do renunciation of actions, whereas on the other hand, you wanted me to do actions on the Karma Yoga path. So still I am not clear. On one hand, you praise about Karma Yoga, and on the other hand, you are saying Jnana Yoga is also there. Yet Shreya, out of this, which one is the best? Etayor ekam. Out of this, one thing, tanme bruhi, to me, please tell one. Sunischitam. Tell me one thing out of these two that I must follow with certainty. That is a question that he's placing. That is because of the previous verses where Krishna has been mentioning about two different approaches. Now, if you have observed, the people in this world, if you look at it, we can easily group them into three different buckets, three different groups, types. One group of people are like Ramakrishna, Paramahamsa, Swami Vivekananda, Ramana Maharishi, Dayanand, Saraswati, right? All those people have attained moksham purely through their divine knowledge. They were absorbed in the divinity and they attained moksha. There were many other people which we do not know that much very well. These are the people that most of us know. That's why I took the examples of this. But there are many people in India who and around the world also who have followed this path of Jnana Yoga, they have that intelligence, the divine spiritual intelligence, with which they naturally get absorbed into that thought of divinity. No effort is needed for them. They just have it in them already. They didn't take any special training or course to go into that path of Jnana Yoga. Sannyasam is quite natural for them. They don't have to strain at all, sacrificing their family, sacrificing their belongings, not hankering. Mind is not hankering for money, children, husband, wife, nothing. All links are severed naturally for them in their mind, just like how it is natural for all of us to just grow up, keep friendship, get married, have children. That is quite natural for rest of all of us, but for them that is not natural. What is nature for them is to just be absorbed in the divinity. Right from their birth, they have it in them. Those followed the path of Jnana Yoga. Those followed the path of renunciation. That is one type of people. Other type of people are those who followed Karma Yoga. They didn't sacrifice family, life, children, or any such thing, but they practiced the path of Karma Yoga. Janaka is one clear example. And there are many others, even in our recent generation, many people are living. We do not know about them. There is no standing example that all of us know because they are not prominent. But there are many people who practiced such a life. Rajaji in India is one such person who practiced purely the Karma Yoga, path of Karma Yoga. So they do everything. They involve in the society. They live in the family. They live inside the society. They get married. They have children. They have friendship. They have social life and everything. But still, they move with the thought of divinity in their mind while engaging in all these actions. That is another group of people. Now, there is rest of the people. Rest all is majority. That is ocean. This group is very small, which is the action group, the Karma Yogi group. Jnana Yogi group is also very small, very narrow, not much known that much. Rest all is 98%. This is probably 1%. This is probably 1%. Not even that. This is even more less. Not even 1%. This is point not 1%. And this may be not even 1%. Again, this is maybe a little bit higher, but not much. Rest 99.9999% fall under the bucket where that is where most of us fall under. We do not know whether to follow this path or that path. That is why this question that Arjuna is raising. Renunciation is correct. Sannyas is the right path, or Karma Yoga is the right path. Because he is asking that question because he is actually assuming that most of us will also be asking that question. On the other hand, many people are not even thinking of who is bothered. I'm happy with what I'm doing now. Why should I be worried about should I go Karma Yoga or Jnana Yoga? Who cares? I'm following my own yoga. That is how rest of us are living, right? So that path, there is no definition to it. The path that is neither this nor that. So now we have to decide which path we'll have to align. If not, I'm neither this nor that, I don't even believe in spirituality, that is totally different. That group is, in a way, it's better because they are not even into it. They are not even into spirituality. They are not even talking about God or Vishnu or Krishna or Shiva or any such thing. To them, no, I'm agnostic or I don't even believe in this. I'm just what I can do. Let me do something good to the society, and then they are not cheating themselves, they are not cheating others. But for people who say that we believe in spirituality, we believe in God, we believe in Krishna, in Rama, in Shiva, in whatever God that we are associated with, to them, now Krishna's word is, Arjuna is asking which way to go. That is quite relevant because we need to take that path and go. Now, Krishna is ruling out the path of Jnana Yoga because he says that there is long time he rejected that path, but still he is reinforcing through Arjuna now by making him ask this question. So yeah, this is great. The Karma Yoga path and Jnana Yoga path, that is also seems like people have done it. So now which one should I go? That is a question that we all will have. Now he's going to clearly say that the Karma Yoga path is the best path that you must go because that involves actions, and that involves actions that we already do. We already know what to do with it, but a little bit of thought, right? So the differences is what is going to speak now. Let's see what Krishna says in the next shloka. Sri Bhagavanuvacha Sannyasah karma yogascha Nishreyasakaravubhau Tayostu karma sannyasat Karma yogo vishishyate. So he says Sannyasa karma yogascha. Sannyasa, which is the renunciation, path of renunciation. Karma yogascha and Karma Yoga, Nishreyasakaravubhau, both definitely will lead to the supreme goal. Either you go through the Jnana Yoga path or you go through the Karma Yoga path. Both are going to lead to one supreme goal, which is reaching me, attaining me. He didn't say that explicitly. He said that both will lead to the supreme goal. But that is what is intended. Tayostu karma sannyasat. But since you raised this point, out of these two, karma yogo vishishyate. Karma yoga stands out. I vote for, is superior, is much better. He is declaring it. Now, why is he saying that Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga are both will reach one destination, right? Whether you go through this route, both will reach one destination. And why he's saying the Karma Yoga is the best one. Now, if you look at it, what is a Jnana Yogi does? Vivekananda or Ramakrishna Paramahamsa or anyone who you think about, they have their body, mind, and soul was absorbed in that oneness called Brahman. That's also called Vishnu. It has different names, right? So they have given their body, mind, and soul to that oneness, and then they are not even interested in rest of the things. They just have given it to him. That is truth with the Jnana Yogis, right? Now, for people like us who are interested in following the Karma Yoga, what did he say in the previous chapter? By desisting from desires and hatred, right? Differentiating the two, and by sacrificing all the actions that we perform to him by way of body, soul, and mind, given to that supreme goal. Do your work. So here also body, mind, and soul are involved, and here also all those three are given as sacrifice to that Brahman, to that Vishnu. The only difference is actions are still being performed in this path, whereas in the other path, actions are not mandatory. In the path of Jnana Yoga, it is not mandatory for a Jnana Yogi to still be fulfilling his duties. A Jnana Yogi who is totally absorbed in with his pure spiritual intelligence in that divinity, it is okay if he doesn't fulfill his responsibilities. Whereas for Karma Yogi, he still need to be doing the duties while still offering his body, mind, and soul to that supreme goal. That is the only difference. But offering the body, mind, soul to the supreme goal is true in both the paths. But here one person is not doing any duty because he is not expected to do any duty. But they are all doing it still. If you look at Swami Vivekananda, he wasn't idling his time. He went around the world spreading the message. Right? And Ramana Maharishi, you're sitting in his ashram, and sitting in front of him, people say that it gave so much of peacefulness to the mind by just looking at him. He didn't even talk or open his mouth. Whenever in the assembly hall, he will just be staring at the people. That is all he did. No lectures, no bhajans, no sermons. He just was sitting there and people used to watch him. That's all. And he was doing that, and that is one of the actions that he did regularly, periodically he did that. But still they are doing that actions, even though they are not expected to do. They have attained everything, but still they are doing the actions. But it is not mandatory for them to do any action. They don't have to do anything to accomplish anything else because they already accomplished what has to be accomplished. But for Karma Yogi, he or she has to perform, engage in the everyday life, fulfilling the duties, but with the thought, with the body, mind, and soul totally given to that divine power, to that divinity, which is Vishnu. Not accepting anything for oneself. I'm doing it for this, I'm doing it for that. That is broken down, and there is no likeness or hatred, desire or hatred. Free from that, if that performs his duty, then both are one and the same, is what he's trying to say here. Even though even though both of them reach one goal, it is preferred to do karma yoga, because do not go into this path if that is not for you. If that were for you, you would have already been in that path and got absorbed into it. You cannot be saying, okay, let me choose out of these two. When you are choosing out of these two, then you are too late already. You better choose only the karma yoga path. The problem with renunciation, most people loosely talk about renunciation while living the life of grahastha, family life. Right? Most people, it's an easy escape. Okay, let me just, I can't even bear this life anymore. It is so much of responsibility, it's so much of, what is after all, end of it, what is that we are achieving? Nothing. One day we are all going to just, that something will happen to us, and then what is it? So why just go through all this grind? I don't even like it. And let's sacrifice everything. I don't want this, that. Let me be peaceful in my mind and then go. But the problem with that is the biggest problem. We cannot take to renunciation just because the present situation is not favorable to us, or rather it is annoying, it is disturbing me, so I better take to the Jnana Yoga path. That won't work. The reason is there may be many people who took to that line, that path, and then go and live in the Himalayas for years together. But once they are back into the city, they may not be able to accept anything, whatever that is happening. Still, that is a problem. If true Jnana Yogi is one who is able to appreciate the divinity inside oneself, will be able to sit in the middle of a fish market, for example, and with so much of noise and commotion, still be able to meditate with absolute bliss, peacefulness. That is a true Jnana Yogi. None of us will ever be able to attain that state naturally, because we are all following the path of Karma Yoga. In the Karma Yoga path, that is not expected. No one is expecting that one needs to be in the middle of the noisy situation and be calm and peace. No one is expecting. And do meditation. That is not expected. That is highly impossible for anyone. That is only the Jnana Yogis can do that. If we are opting to that path of renunciation, and we artificially assume that all the links are already snapped. Oh, I'm not interested in earning money because many people would say that I'm not that much interested in money. I'm not interested in mansions. I'm not interested in jewelry. I'm not interested in this, that, husband, children, wife, anything. You just, they'll give you a list. While living in the middle of the life, we while enjoying all those things, anyone will say that I'm not interested in that. But once that reality strikes, once that person literally leaves this and discards and then goes back into the path of renunciation, when reality strikes, that is when the true colors will be exposed. Whereas a Jnana Yogi, because of his internal strength, can will not even be any trouble for him even if he does that renunciation, because that is natural to him or her. But for this person who is just trying out or experimenting, it will be a hardship, because we are not used to that. That is why he is stressing that this is the most better path, Arjuna. Follow this path. The reason that this is being again and again, this path, this two paths, and choosing between the two paths is being brought about and being discussed by Arjuna and by Krishna, is that most most people might think about that path. That is one reason, because it is not all working out. That is one. And most people might not even have decided this path or that path. That also is one reason, that if ever you are thinking about it, the Karma Yoga path is the right path. The Karma Yoga path, it is also not that easy, we know that, because we have been listening to it, but we know the practical difficulties in it. In the Karma Yoga path, giving the heart, body, and mind, everything to, and then performing the actions, is it easy? It involves a lot of practice. First thing, If anyone says anything to us, if they scream at us, yell at us, anger is right there. So we are not able to focus our mind and give it to that supreme reality, divinity. Right? Instead, our mind is hankering around the events that happen at home or at work or outside. Where is the mind getting diverted to him? Good thing is, mind need not be diverted to him. Mind can hanker around the people. Mind can go round in circles around the events. They are all okay. But immediately the reasoning should happen that, okay, this person I'm thinking about, that is fine, but he did it or she did it because he's not doing it by himself. Under the directions of Vishnu, he's acting. And I experience it. I do things. It's not I am doing it. It is being under the directions of that Vishnu. He is holding. That is the truth also. That is the truth also. We have seen it many times. Anything, everything that is happening to us at this time, if you look at it, if you just imagine, many things go on around us, right? Right now, right this instant. We are all in this call, but so many things happen around the world. Do we have a control? Does anyone has any control around what is happening anywhere? No one, until the news reaches us, right? Okay, this has happened. But actually, some people, somewhere, somehow, they are engaged in one thing or the other and doing few things. And the news is reaching us the next day morning. That is all we are doing. And we also do engaged in some things. Our news goes elsewhere. Who is controlling these things? There is no one person who is running this world. That itself is a clear indication, right? Is there any one person you can just stop and say that, are you running the world? And he can say, yes, I am the one who runs this world. I know everything that is happening at this time in this world. No. But the world is operating smoothly. People are going around, people are doing work, people are living their lives, people are running their shows. How is it possible? Have you ever wondered? So many things. Many people are dependent on many other people and many events, many situations, many demand, but it hasn't crashed. Within our four walls, when we wanted to run our family, so many things we need to worry about. We need to take care of this, that, X, Y, Z, right? Still, we feel like the family, we need to do a lot of things so that as to make it work properly. And a lot of things is needed. But how is this whole world which is totally disconnected? Most people do not like most other people, right? They hate rather. Like is next step. First thing, every people have their own hatred against every other people. How is still everything working so many years without falling apart? The plan or the scheme is perfectly working. Is there anyone responsible for that plan or scheme? Yes, that is that person. That person has a bigger scheme. He is running the show. Many people can deny it. It's all demand, supply. So that is what is running the show. Who created the demand? Who created the supply? Demand is created by him. Supply also is created by him. How? I'll tell you. We are all getting hungry. That is why we go earn, right? We go to work. We earn. We bring money, and then we give children, eat our food, everything, because everyone starts feeling hungry. If no one is hungry, then many things we may not have to do. First thing is going to work, probably, potentially. Many people go to work only to make sure that we get food the next day, right? We don't want to go hungry. Who created this demand inside us? Is any human who created the demand? No. It's born with us. And who created the food? The food industry is so popular today, right? Who created the fundamental food? It's coming from earth. Man cannot make food if earth is not offering its ingredients to man, right? So demand is here, supply is also here. Both are generated within this world. So orchestration, who is orchestrating the whole thing, that is that one person. That thought, if a person executes his life based on that thought, his or her life based on that thought, that he is running the show. If my mother-in-law walks in and yells at me, it is not my mother-in-law who is doing it. It is that Supreme who is somehow orchestrating and putting some thought, planting some thought into my mother-in-law. And that is why I know that is not easy. That is where practice and devotion is most important. So when we are having the free time, in the sense like when we don't have any problem, thinking about these things about him will help. Oh, he is the one who is running the show. He is the one who is running the show. Let me do my work. When he is doing busily doing all that work, how can I take it easy? Let me do my work. And whenever I do work, whoever is in front of me doing anything to me, it is from him. They are doing it from him. So that is a simple example is this. An interesting story is being told is this, right? A piece of wood, a piece of log walked up to a carpenter, a fiction story, you can say. And then it said, I'm okay. Can you make me a useful item out of me? I'm ready to offer myself. Carpenter was very interested, and then he said, sure, why won't I will definitely do. And he started picking up his tools and started chiseling the chips out of that wood. The moment he started hitting, the wood is like, no, stop, what are you doing? The carpenter said, well, if you want me to make you a useful, a good, nice, beautiful piece, then I'll have to do this. And the wood said, I cannot bear it. It is so painful, but okay, that's okay. Because I want to be a beautiful one, I'm accepting it. And so that the carpenter, not the carpenter, maybe you can call him as a sculptor, right? Who sculpts the idols, and he made that wood into a nice, good looking statue of Krishna, let's say. How did this happen? That is what is happening to all of us. Every time we go into this world, we walk into this world with our pains. This universe, which is being run by that Vishnu, is trying to shape us into that beautiful idol. Only thing is that in that example, the wood allowed itself to be made beautiful. But in our case, we are not willing to allow ourselves to be made beautiful internally, I mean. The more pains and struggles we go through in life, is trying to make us bring out our inner beauty. The more we enjoy and we feel outgoing, the more happier, just having good things happening all the time. The devil is waiting there. It's just a matter of time that the devil is going to catch us, right? Because the more struggle one goes through, the testing that one goes through, that means that our inner core is getting tested, hardened. So that is possible only in the path of Karma Yoga. In Jnana Yoga, if we just escape, abandoning everything and I go there, that is not even possible. That is why the Karma Yoga path is the best path for family holders, where it is trying to give multiple events through people and situations and multiple troubles to really bring the best out of us. The butter is never gotten out of the curd by not doing anything to the butter. The churning has to happen. That is when the butter can emerge, right? That the Karma Yoga is precisely that. Karma Yoga, when we walk through, it is like live your normal life. Allow yourself to be churned. Allow yourself to be your inner, allow your inner beauty to be extracted out of you and shown to yourself. It is not that he is trying to do that. We wanted to experience our own inner beauty, and everything is happening precisely for that. And what is that most people do when difficult things happen to us? We just lose heart and we say that why it is me, and then we just associate ourselves with that pain more than attributing it to the cause who is making that happen and why it is happening. That which is quite natural. That is quite natural for us to fall victim to it and associate ourselves to that incident or event or people and start hating or becoming dissolved into that mix, the problem, whatever that is, right? Instead of coming out and looking things from a development point of view. How can I improve out of this situation? This situation is making me learn few things so that next time I do not. But every situation happens, it is more of a test to us, right? If we are in the school days, then people will have tests, will ask us to rewrite the test until we get those math problems right, correct, right? Okay, didn't pass, go back and then do. Didn't pass, go back. So life's problems are more like that. We are just going through the same problems again and again and again and again and again and again. That is because we haven't learned from those problems. And this universe, which is nothing but the Brahman or the Vishnu, wanted us to learn. When we learn, the problems will go away, that problem will go away. Then the next problem will come. It's a higher level problem. Once you master that, then the higher level problem, then higher level problem. Problems do exist at every level. It is, are we willing to master or not and go up, learn and master and go up, than getting stuck at the lowest level. Most people will have problems with food, right? Eating problem, and then there is no escape at all. Here we are in that level all the time. No, we won't have any bigger problems. Not having higher bigger problems like headache is not good in life. It's just that we are stuck with lower problems, right? And we have not graduated ourselves to that problem. For example, a person who has not cleared fourth grade, let us say, obviously will not be given any problem from an eighth grade math. Why would he be? Because fourth grade itself he hasn't cleared. Then how will he get eighth grade problems? But the graduation day is when we go to a university and earn the degree, and the last day When we earn that degree, that is the graduation, that is the moksha, freedom from any more tests, at least that school level tests, right? So that day will come, but we need to have that patience of mastering the problem and going up and up and up and up. These things we know when we are a student, but when somehow when we become mixed up in our life, I mean, when we start living our regular life, things start happening to us, then we are not accepting it as a test to my personality. We think that the exams do happen only in the schools and the colleges. These are not tests, no. If something is happening to me, naturally it is a learning experience. If I'm not able to, if I'm repeatedly crying and wailing and complaining about the things that are happening around me, that means I have not learned how to handle it. And that is one. Number two is, universe wanted me to learn. When I say universe, that Vishnu wanted us to learn. That is why he's creating the situation and orchestrating and bringing people and situations in front of us. If we master that, this one thinking, then we mastered the karma yoga. We have, and then the next thing is practicing it and applying this in our practice. I'm sure that all of you who are hearing this now will definitely appreciate and understand this point, but applying is where the difficulty comes, right? Applying is all about practice, practice, practice. When I say it, doesn't mean that I have mastered it. The applying inclusive. I'm also practicing. I also have to practice applying it on every situation. No one is free from it yet. We all are learning, right? So, and the more in passion we wanted to apply into this learning, then we are getting more knowledge, divine knowledge about that supreme personality. The more we get looking at the problems as a problem, the more we are ignoring him. We are excluding him from the equation, right? He is not even part of it. It's happening to me because that person is bad. This is happening to me because he hates me. This situation happened because they all made it. It is all about her, him, they, them. It is not about him anymore, right? So the moment we start looking at, the thought should direct towards him every time. The Karma Yoga fundamental principle is that anything that we get, anything that we lose, anything that we do, anything that others do to us is all because of that divine power. If you want to associate with Mahalakshmi, you can do that. If you want to associate that divine power with Mahavishnu, you can do that. If you want to associate that with anything that you think, perfectly okay. But that supreme is absolute. That is the absolute truth, not just one department. For example, Indra. Indra is not concerned. Indra is not doing it. You cannot associate that to Indra. Indra is defined as this Maya Jal, right? Whatever the rains and the lightning that is being created to make sure that earth gets enough of its resources. That is just to make sure that. But what we are talking about is the absolute truth, which is Mahalakshmi or Mahavishnu. We have given names to it. So you can think about that on anything that is happening. And that thing need not be just like you see in the temples, a standing figure. Or it can be, if you want to see it that way, perfectly okay. But if you cannot I don't know, that is just a human personality, I cannot visualize it, then that is the Brahman. The entire universe, you can see that universe is making it. But in any case, attribute to that superpower. That superpower is one word, we call it as Vishnu. So that is the reason that he is saying Karma Yoga is the best, where that will bring the best out of you as long as you practice in the right way. Is what Krishna is trying to say in the second verse. With that, we stop here today, and then we will continue with the rest of our verses next week then. Thank you very much. Shriyah Kantaya Kalyana Nidaye Sri Venkatanivasaya Srinivasaya Mangalam.